Okay, so in the previous video, I described these three kinds of rules that you'd use for counting. And we're going to try and use these to do these examples that I've got on this page and this page here, and then you're going to try some questions yourself. So let's have a look at this first example. It says an ice cream parlour sells 15 different flavours of ice cream. Sophie buys a different flavour of ice cream on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday. In how many ways can she do this? Well, I think this looks like it's going to be one of these, type 2, excluding choosing the same thing more than once. And the reason I know we're not going to choose the same thing more than once is because she's going to pick a different flavour of ice cream on each of these days. So on the first day when she goes to the shop, on the Friday, she's going to be able to choose from 15. But on the next day, she will have one less choice because she doesn't want to repeat her order. And on the day after, she will only be able to choose from 13 things because she'll have already ordered 2 things on the previous 2 days. So all that's left to do is to calculate 15 times 14 times 13, which is 2,730 different ways, which is a lot. So you can do that next time you go into, I don't know, an ice cream place. You can try and figure out how many different combinations that there could be, okay? It then says here, Fred is choosing a sofa and an armchair for his living room. At the furniture shop, there are 13 different types of sofa and 8 different types of armchair. How many ways can Fred select a sofa and an armchair? So out of type 1, type 2, and type 3, I actually don't think I think it's probably just going to be number 1. He's allowed to there's no restrictions. He can choose the same thing, but they're different to each other. So I think it's just going to be multiplying the available choices together. So for the number of sofas, he's got 13 different things he can choose from. And for the armchairs, he's got 8 different things that he can choose from. So I'm just going to do 13 times 8, which is 104. So there are 104 different ways for him to choose from. Okay, C, it says Tasnim uses a code to open a lock. There is a choice of the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 for each position. The code is a 3-digit number, and all of the digits are different. How many different possible codes are there? Okay, so let's figure out whether we think it's type 1, type 2, or type 3. So multiply the available choices together, but I think we also had some extra information, right? They said all of the digits are different. So I think it's going to be more like this. I think it's going to be multiplying by 1 less each time because we don't want to choose the same thing more than once. And it says here the order doesn't matter, and for our one, the order does matter. So it's going to be a type 2. We're going to multiply by 1 less each time. So it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 choices for the first number in the digit. Then we'll have already used one of those, so it would just be 5 choices, and then for the last one, it would just be 4 choices. So I think we're going to do 6 times 5, which is 30, and 30 times 4 is 120. There are 120 ways, or 120 different possible codes, or 120 possible codes. If it just said there are 6 digits, and it's a 3-digit number, we would have just done 6 times 6 times 6, which is 216. Whoops. Yeah, which is 216. But they had that crucial extra thing which said that all of the digits are different. Okay, D, it says a teacher selects 2 students from their class of 14 students at random. How many possible combinations of students are there? So let's see if we can think of which one it is, type 1, 2, or 3. Well, I don't think it's going to be this one because after you've picked one of the students, you can't pick them again. So it's not going to be the total combination. So it's going to be between 2 and 3. Let's have a look at this. It says excluding choosing the same thing more than once and the order doesn't matter. So actually, I think the order doesn't matter. If we think about this one, let's say that we're going to say there were 2 students, let's say like Alan and Beth. If you picked Alan then Beth, and then if you picked Beth then Alan, I think we would say that that was the same combination. So I don't think the order matters of who we pick from this class. So because the order doesn't matter, we're going to do 14 for the first choice, and then after you've picked that first person, there's 1 less to choose from, and then we're going to divide that by 2 so that we don't have any repeats. So I'm going to do 14 times 13, and then I'm going to half that so that there are 91 possible combinations. Okay, last one for my examples. It says that Emma selects 3 songs from a playlist of 12 songs. How many different orders of song choices are there? Okay, well, it doesn't say this explicitly, but I don't think she's going to pick the same song 3 times. I think it's implying she's going to pick 3 different songs from the playlist. And I think the order is going to matter because this is how many different orders are there. So for the first song, I think it's, sorry, I should say which type. I think it's going to be this one. She can't choose the same thing more than once. And I think the order does matter. So I think it's going to be number 2 here. So she has a choice of 12 songs for the first, 11 songs for the second, and 10 songs for the third. So I'll do 12 times 11 times 10. You could do this non-calculator, couldn't you? And there are 1,320 different choices. Okay, so here are some questions that I want you to have a go at. I've got 3 here, so you might like to pause the video and try these questions, and then you can play the video and I'll show you the next set of questions. Oh, there's only 3, and then there's some exam questions here that you might like to have a go at, but just these 3 questions here. So pause the video and have a go at these. I'm going to go through them in just a second. Okay, so in a football league, each team plays each other once. There are 20 teams in the league. How many matches will there be? So I think this is like a type 3 question, okay? Because if we had team A versus B, we would also have B versus A also being counted. But it says that they're only playing each other once, so I'm definitely going to want to do that divide by 2 at the end. So there are 20 teams in the league. Will you pick one of the teams to begin with, times it by 1 less, because you can't have the team playing themselves, and then divide it by 2? Well, I can do this in a different order. I could do the 20 divided by 2 first, which is 10. 10 times 19, there are going to be 190 matches that will be played. Okay, it says here that a new phone model allows you to select a different wallpaper and lock screen from a choice of 25 different themes each. How many possible combinations of wallpapers and lock screens are there? Well, I think this is going to be like a type 1 question because it doesn't have any restrictions at all. It doesn't say after you've picked one for the lock screen, you can't use it for the wallpaper or vice versa. So it's just going to be 25 multiplied by 25, which is 625 combinations. And then the last one that we've got here, it says a playing card is dealt from the deck at random to Andy, then Sam, then Rahim. How many possible ways can this be done? Well, we've already got a type 3 and a type 2, but this is an example of, sorry, a type 3 and a type 1. This is an example of a type 2. As a reminder of a type 2, you can't choose the same thing more than once, and the order matters, okay? So after we've given them a card, we can't give them the same card. We're giving them the card and just getting it away from the deck. Well, there are 52 cards in the deck for the first person, for Andy. There's only then 51 possible that Sam could have, and then only 50 possible that Rahim could have. So the number of ways of doing this is 52 times 51 times 50, which is 132,600 possible ways. Huge number of combinations because there are so many cards to pick from. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to do some exam style questions just to kind of show you the way that it might be presented to you. Found this video helpful? Then why not drop it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you'd like the next video in the playlist, you can click here to be taken straight to it. And as always, wishing you the very best for all your studies.